Welcome back, everybody. We are live for season 3 of the Qredible Live Broadcast, which very, very excited. Yes, I cannot believe we're launching season 3. We had an awesome summer full of panel discussions that you can catch the replay of and had some amazing experts, amazing discussions. And this year we're kind of kicking off with a what's new at Qredible, what to expect in this next season, and an overview of kind of what's going on amongst the highly regulated industry. So today we've got our awesome host, as always, Qredible CEO Brian Fitzpatrick, as well as Qredible CRO Noah Fitzgerald. So the Fitzes are in the house.
Rocking it.
The power of Fitz. Here we are.
The power of Fitz squared.
Fitz squared.
That's right. Excited to be here as always with you guys and just get your perspective on everything that's going on. I mean, my goodness, since we started this broadcast, 2.5 years ago, so much has changed, so much has evolved, and the industry, not just in cannabis, but in CBD and hemp. And as we've broadened our scope, the experts we've had come on, it's just been an incredible growth of our audience and then just the subject matter we've been able to cover. So yeah, excited to kick it off today. I want to kind of start by just having, both of you weigh in on what's new in these highly regulated industries. I know that you stay very tuned in, and our audience is probably eager to hear from your perspective what you see happening and where we're headed.
How much time do we have?
Yeah, not enough. No matter what it is, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, what's new in these industries?
What's new?
It's probably easier to address what's not new.
What stayed the same?
Lots happening. I mean, this is, Noah and I like to say that we work in highly regulated industries, not risky businesses, right? So it's only business risky if you're not doing the right thing. And these are companies that are doing a lot of great things, but we're talking about sectors like healthcare and payments and consumer products, and and within those channels, we see so many changes in CBD and hemp and nutraceuticals, and we've been seeing massive change. I mean, haven't we, Noah? Just in the last year, we've been seeing.
I mean, in the past couple of months, just from state level regulatory changes on hemp products to cannabis rules and regulations and changes at the Fed. There's talking about different things, and I mean, it's everywhere, and it's shaking a lot of things up, and it's exciting times. I mean, especially for what we are doing, I think it's perfect time, perfect place, a really exciting opportunity to be in where we're at today to help people recognize and understand how to really evolve compliance related to their business.
Yeah, it's really critical. And I think it's also important to understand sort of the pain chain, right? So when you tell people you work in these highly regulated industries, and then you say that you work a lot with payment processors and banks and insurance companies, you're like, well, wait a minute, how how are they involved? And it's like, well, interesting question. Well, here's the deal, right? Yeah. Whatever the regulators are saying out there, and there's a lot of changes coming up with, we'll talk about that in this episode about what's going on in the federal government and the FDA. But as these industries are growing, I mean, you can't log on to Facebook or social media without seeing advertisements for functional mushrooms or a new supplement or CBD or, stop the aging process, all these things that are coming at you. But there's somebody regulating those, right? And there's oversight from the federal government. There's oversight from the FDA. There's oversight from various states. And when that happens, right, there's rules that have to be played by relative to the payments and the banking. So this is where sort of the payments and banking side comes in. And we've seen not only changes in the rules and the oversight for FDA, we're seeing them get more active now, and we're going to see them even more active in the future. But we're also seeing states get, look at all this state drama that we're seeing back and forth about changing rules, and this is not allowed, but this is allowed, et cetera. Well, somebody's got to keep track of all those to make sure that you're complying, right? But that does trickle into the banking and payments and the financial structure, and they have to know who they're doing business with and what's going on. So, Noah, it's probably good to really talk about is how we've really seen even Visa, MasterCard, and the banks sort of tightening up their rules, right, around
Yeah,
the regulated industries.
100%. I mean, you talked about the regulators in the states having, setting these rules. Well, the banks also have their own appetite and their own interpretation of how to apply these rules. And in many cases, big banks in particular, they're, they're risk adverse. They don't want to even play in a sandbox where there's even a conversation about a potential product that might be, on the FDA's radar or what have you. So they'll take preemptive action just in a news article that the FDA is considering XYZ, and they'll make it a broadband sweeping change throughout their banking infrastructure, which includes not only bank accounts, but the bank sponsorship of the payment processors, because the payment processor isn't the one, they're the ones that are technically doing the functional work of managing the payments, but they have to be underwritten by a bank. And that bank is responsible at the end of the day for the merchants and what they're doing and how they're selling. And if they're doing things, if the merchant is doing something that's illegal and they don't catch it, that is their responsibility, the bank's responsibility. So they are really that first line of defense in policing the regulations out there, not just for the regulators and the laws, but for their own internal compliance requirements to ensure that they're not complicit with illegal activity or a merchant selling products to minors or, potentially hurting, a business or an individual with their product sales. They will be implicated on that backstream upflow. And that's what a lot of merchants and businesses don't truly understand. And it's like, why did I get shut down? Why do they care what I'm doing? I just want to process business. Well, they're responsible because they're part of the financial chain of how things work. And we all know that money all leads to control. And at that end of the day, they have to be responsible for making sure that those businesses are doing things correctly.
It's the golden rule. He who has the gold rules. So, nothing happens on these websites or this in commerce without these credit card, processing companies. So, I like to tell people that, regulators set the baseline, right? Mm-hmm. So the laws and regulatory agencies such as FDA, FTC, and the various state health authorities, they're establishing sort of these legal requirements that are covering everything from product quality to what you can and cannot say. So the advertising accuracy and the customer data protection. But what we're seeing is that the enforcement has been coming in from the financial side of the business. So even though the banks aren't setting the baseline rules, they're enforcing them through safe commerce.
Correct.
And this is, and the interesting thing is what we've seen in the past is more and more merchants, a lot of merchants have been able to get away with things. And it's not like they're saying, okay, how can we get away with everything?
Yeah.
Some are.
No, they don't even know.
Maybe some are, but they just want to stay in business. But nobody's in the past, the enforcement action really wasn't as intensive as it is now. We've seen that really shift. I mean, literally in the last 12 to 18 months, we're seeing this tension in the payment processing network that is really causing a balancing act between fraud prevention, transaction speed, and user experience, because these banks at the end of the day, they don't want to get dinged, right? And I always try to tell these merchants that, look, they're not doing this to make your life miserable. They're doing it to stay in business themselves, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't want
you're going to risk a multi-billion-dollar portfolio of business and your entire bank charter to support illegal activity. Not going to happen on my watch. That's how they look at it. And this is why, and to your point, Brian, I mean, you're absolutely right. Everyone is tightening down on this. And I think that that's happening because the evolution of technology is making it easier for them to be able to find these folks and find these businesses and hold them accountable. And really, at the end of the day, compliance is the responsibility of everyone. It doesn't just lie on the regulators. It relies on, the consumers all the way through the entire supply chain.
Yeah. And so, now it's like, I think the thing is that payment processing why is there more and more challenges? Well, because we're seeing more and more baseline regulations.
Yeah.
Right. Because of all these products that are coming up, we're seeing, all these new things. I mean, CBD business is like the alphabet soup. I mean, CBDA, CBD,
BG,
and whatever. But there's a whole bunch of stuff there. And these are like some of the things that the states are really cracking down on. We're seeing the federal government crack down on. And this just creates liability. This creates liability for the financial and banking chain. So I think it's really important that we're now in an environment to really stress is that we used to be in this black box environment. Like, to me, the black box environment is there's some regulator somewhere, whether it's your bank, your insurance company, and they're checking up on you behind the scenes. And you don't necessarily know what they're looking at. You know what the terms of service are, but you didn't really pay attention because you scrolled through them real quick and you signed and you got your credit card processing. And then one day you get shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, how many stories have we heard like that?
Countless.
I mean, countless.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, go on to the next processor. And then, so to me, that's like the black box that never made sense to me. It's like, we really should have this transparent ecosystem of compliance where literally the merchants can be proactive and have the same tools that the merchant processors, banks, insurance companies, FDA, quite frankly, opportunistic plaintiffs attorneys that are looking at what's going on. So let's see that before, you get caught with your pants down and potentially lose your business. So, I mean, that's been our mission here at Qredible, is to really help not only the risk side on the financial side and within the supply chain, but really help these companies to understand how they can to be better. I mean, hey, we were on a call earlier today and with a merchant, I mean, really good quality merchant, really trying to do the right thing. I mean, they're creating great products. They were on the call with their compliance people, and we ran a scan live, with our technology. And lo and behold, they were missing an FDA disclaimer.
Yeah.
And,
we pointed on it. Yeah.
She's like, oh, how did I miss that?
You're right. I mean, that is something I'm missing. It was like validated right there and then. It was great.
I honestly thought our scanner was like, are we wrong on this? Like, I'm like, this company has everything together, and it's like, they look so great. And then she was like, hey, I'm on this. Like, I'm getting on this right away. And probably by now it's fixed.
It's probably fixed.
But that's a great example of somebody who's not trying to break the rules. It's just that, for whatever reason, it got away.
There's so much to it, right? So I think what businesses, and that's is everybody, that they don't, it's not that they don't want to be compliant. It's just that it's freaking hard. It's not easy. And what I really believe, what we are really trying to accomplish, what we're working to accomplish, is turning this really complex and complicated navigation of how to deal with all of these different variables and making it super easy to give it to the businesses, the merchants themselves, the manufacturers, the labs, the payment processors, the banks, the insurance providers. And as you said, Brian, turning it from a black box to a transparent box where everyone is able to see and understand what is going on. But the automation of what we've been doing is absolutely incredible. And to be able to take, someone's full-time role of compliance management and bring that back down to something that's manageable in an hour or two a month with technology is a game changer. And it just holds them to a much higher standard for themselves and for the rest of the industry. And to me, this is all about creating sustainability in these industries. It's not about trying to find the gotcha moments and trying to find out who's wrong and who's in whatever. It's really helping the good actors stay ahead of the curve and making sure that they can sustain their businesses, because we want to see these industries thrive. Period.
Yes. Not only do we want to see these industries thrive, but these industries are growing naturally. So this is the important thing. Like, particularly, like, let's just talk about supplements for a minute, right? As a high risk area. I mean, we've got RFK, sort of heading the Health and Human Services, and we know that he's a fan of supplements, but we also know he's a fan of safety. So, we've got this, we've seen a little bit of, okay, we're going to have more FDA enforcement, even though we decimated the FDA, right? So, but we're going to have more FDA enforcement. So the federal and state governments are really starting to intensify. And I think this is because, I tell people all the time, I said, I really think that we're in this convergence between Eastern medicine and Western medicine, where more and more people are taking control of their wellness in not a pharmaceutical way, where we basically wait for it to find, okay, let's treat the symptom. Let's get a drug and treat that symptom, as opposed to, hey, I want to get to the root cause. I want to reduce inflammation. I want to reduce these things through better wellness. So we're seeing, these industries are growing so rapidly, but we're also seeing an adverse health incidence. And because of inconsistent product quality, misleading claims, just this rapid proliferation of new and often unregulated, products out there. And now we're seeing the GRAS standard, so the generally recognized as safe, is getting more intense. It used to be, bring your panel of experts, tell us that your panel of experts are good with this ingredients and stuff, and then we're good for GRAS. Now, RFK is saying, well, now you're going to have to submit your GRAS standards to the FDA, and the FDA will give you thumbs up or thumbs down. So what does all that mean? What all that means is we're going to continue to see the growth of these businesses and the proliferation of them in commerce, but we're also going to see more regulatory crackdown, which is going to drive more banking regulatory enforcement. Right. It just, because we talked about that. That's how it happened. So the issue is, it's not just about this black box of, gotcha. We caught you doing something bad. It's about, hey, how do we all figure out a way to make this safer and to actually not ship products where we're not supposed to ship them, or fix problems that are on the website or the labels or those types of things. And that's really what I think is a big part of what we're going to see massive growth. What say you on that issue, Noah?
Listen, love them or hate them, RFK Jr. is making changes, and that's going to be here, period. There's just no way around it. You can't control it. So, really there's a lot of opportunities in change. And for me, what I've been seeing in the market and the number of products that have been flooding the market are getting pretty scary. I saw a product the other day that was 200 milligram servings of THC in a gummy, and they had a 50 count as a 10,000 milligram bag of THC gummies. And this is not cannabis.
Good night, Irene.
Yeah. And I'm like, is that even real? Is that even possible? And I'm like, where does this stop? Is this now a marketing effort from some of these companies to try to outdo one another? And this is why products are flooding the market. And there is a bit of Wild West going on. And, in order for the business to sustain, there's going to have to be a standard. And this is what the FDA is going to really start cracking down on, is ensuring that there are standards. And states, once they see these types of products, that's where they freak out and go, nope, we've got to shut this down now. And those types of companies that are trying to push these types of products into the market are really, unfortunately, as maybe well-intentioned as they really are going to hurt the actual sustainability of the entire industry. And create more forces and more crackdowns. I think what we're seeing now with the hemp beverage industry, to me, this is where the mass adoption of these product strains are really going to start shaking up the payments world, the banking world, the regulatory, and I think a lot of these merchants that have traditionally been low risk merchants, like a restaurant or a bar or a nightclub or a liquor store, they're going to be faced with a business decision, because their payment processors do not want these products. There's only a certain amount of banks out there that want these products. And a lot of these core processors, they don't want to touch them. Our job, and what I feel we're working to achieve, is to help make these products more acceptable by these banks. The challenge is that they don't have the controls to be able to do it today. And that's why technology is so important in playing a part of how this business does thrive and sustain.
Well, I think part of it is because we're seeing, just like you were intimating, is we're seeing high risk products bleed into low risk businesses.
Yes.
So, for example, you were talking about a friend who went to the deli. He always gets a sandwich, and looked in the back and there's a whole new freezer case full of THC beverages at the deli.
At the deli.
Okay, so the deli's a low risk business. It's flagged in commerce as a low risk business, but guess what? Not anymore.
Yeah. And they weren't selling alcohol beverages because you need a liquor license. With these products, you don't, in this state, you don't need a hemp license to sell this stuff in retail. But they don't understand the implications of what does compliance mean in respect to selling these products, period. And when their payment processing relationship connects and finds out that they're doing this, they're going to get a knock on the door saying either remove these products or we're going to close your account. And then that's the business decision. So, the payment processors that are in these low risk industries really need to start standing up and paying attention, because this is happening now nationwide. I mean, you go on social media, and I've been, watching these images of these new products being placed into grocery stores and liquor stores, and they're proud of taking these pictures of their display shelves and display cases. And I'm all for it. I love these products. I want to, I'm not a fan of alcohol. I love these products. I have no problem with them whatsoever, and I want to see them succeed. But in order for them to really help these retailers understand what's happening and what's going to be the implications of this, there needs to be some education that's happening.
So you're what they call California. What's that? California sober or whatever?
California sober. Yeah.
Is that what it is? California sober. So yeah, I mean, it is so funny. You see everybody posting these pictures and you're like, wait, that's at a deli.
Like you're just getting blazed on your lunch break.
Yeah, it's at event venues. It's a
bit of grilled cheese and a high.
Yeah, I mean, but it's all. Even think about this. Like, I'm a vet and I'm selling a CBD gummy or a CBD treat for my dogs or for my cats. That is there is compliance wrapped around that product.
Yes.
But they're a vet. It's a low risk business. So now this low risk business is selling a high risk product, or I hate to use the term high risk because it's a regulated product, but the banks look at it as a high risk product, and it's not because it's a financial risk. It's because there's compliance management around it. And again, with all the nuances of what products are legal where and who and how can I sell them and who do I have to sell them to, and it's a really challenging industry to be in. So,
well, it's really challenging, but even our Q verification and what we're doing is really helping, because by bringing these tools out to the merchant and having to be proactive about their own compliance stance, and we have COAs with these products. These products are properly labeled. We're not saying things like, this cures male pattern baldness, which I wish it did. And, making all of these crazy claims, right? Yeah, I think I need to go to the hair club.
There's a peptide for that.
There's a peptide for that. We're just not allowed to say it, right? Now, this is where life sciences are going, and they are really. I mean, there really is technology out there that's way different than traditional pharmaceuticals, and they've been tested and verified, and they're saving people's lives, and they're solving a lot of health problems and challenges. But because the FDA is not able to certify them, and let's face it, the facts are the facts. The pharmaceuticals out there and the industries out there are lobbying and pushing money into these regulatory bodies and saying, "Oh, look, I get to buy my way in." And it's just it's going to take time for either these pharmaceutical companies are either going to buy these peptide companies and put them out of business because they don't want to keep selling drugs, or they're going to adopt it and start really pushing the solution, because medicines and pharmaceuticals don't cure. They allow you to sustain. These types of products, they actually get to the source and cure the underlying problem. And that's what I see as a big issue in healthcare in America, is it's really about helping people sustain their diseases and not cure them. Well, you're not allowed to say cure.
I was going to say, just don't say that.
Oh, sorry.
Don't say that.
I have a doctor beside me. They said it's okay.
You're not allowed to say that either.
In peptides, I will say they don't cure, but the goal is to cure the problem and not put a Band-Aid on top of it constantly. So.
I mean, listen, the reason I got into this space, I went from mortgages to supplements and the in the whole industry of CBD in 2018. was because I was looking to make positive change in my life. I was on 3 prescription medicines. So I wanted to get off those prescription medicines. And I had people in my family that were suffering with various situations. And I can say that I'm off of all prescription medicines,
Congrats.
by taking supplements. But, it was really hard to figure out who I should be buying from. Right.
Oh my God, it's scary.
That is scary. And then especially knowing what we know.
Yeah.
Like we know that some of these merchants, we're not going to name names, but some of them are hiding in the shadows. I mean, they're doing naughty things they're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And we're able to detect that through our technology. And it's just, I can't stress enough that the technology is advancing so rapidly. I mean, with what we find in our scanners and what we find in our tech, it's getting really, really hard to hide, because what I think merchants were relying on before is, well, the credit card companies and the banks are going to spend all this time. They have to go to the website. They have to find this. They have to. Well, we found whether a compliance. We can find whether a compliance is in website in about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Almost
so I mean, and the type of things that we're going after and we're looking after to help these banks are the things that these brands should be looking at on their own website, saying, hey, we don't want a letter from the FDA. We don't want to get shut down by our payment processor. We don't want to lose our insurance. We don't want to get sued by some, lawsuit happy consumer group. Right. I mean, these things are coming real. This isn't just fear, uncertainty, and doubt that we're throwing out. We're seeing it every single day. And as a matter of fact, this week, a company that we do business with, or starting to do business with, they came to us and said, hey, we got our merchant processing shut down.
And no small potato merchant either. So
yeah, exactly. They got their merchant processing shut down. And, and I think sometimes the temptation is just to go and hide again instead of fixing these issues. But, I want to talk about what are the ramifications of getting caught too many times.
All roads lead to what's called getting put on match. And essentially the way that works is, as a merchant, you're going to get notified by your processor, okay, you need to stop selling these products. Okay. They will, in most cases, they'll give you a grace period, allow you to cure it. They'll do a scan or review your website. They find the issue again. They'll send you one more notification letter saying, okay, we're going to suspend your funds now until you fix this problem. If that continues to go on for another week even, and you still have done that, or you've shifted or tried to spoof your products, or you've tried to create a member website component or a backend component where it's members only, they will find that. And then essentially at that point, you're working to legitimately defraud the bank and the payment processor. And when that happens, there is no other spot to go other than putting you on match. And when you get put on MasterCard's match list, that is a death sentence for businesses. Yes, you can get off of that. You can find alternative ways to get to payment processing. That's typically going to extremely high risk processing companies that are offshore. Your rates will go to 7 to 15% for payment processing costs. And more than half your clients that are trying to process transactions will be automatically declined because it's going to a merchant account that's offshore. So it's a death sentence for any business, really. I've seen it happen in the nutraceutical space 10, 15 years ago, and people were churning and burning brands and products, and they would launch a product brand, get it going for 6 months, do the free trial programs, and then it would get shut down. They would rebrand it and open it up as another brand and do it again and rinse and repeat every 6 months. And, unfortunately, there's a lot of that same mentality, and there's opportunists out there that are bad actors that are taking and looking to take advantage of that. And that screws it up for everybody else.
Yeah.
But,
it's getting harder to hide. It's getting harder to hide. And the ramifications are big here.
They're huge. I mean, if I'm a business selling a product that's based upon compliance regulated product sets, why risk and everything that you've done, all the money you've invested, your client base, the marketing dollars, the traction that you've gotten, just to be able to try to weasel away a system. this is why I'm in love with what we're doing as a technology company, because we are helping these businesses be proactive rather than be reactive. And what better way to make sure that your business is sustainable and has continuity by staying ahead of a problem before it gets behind you? Because as soon as it gets behind you, you're going to be racing to catch up. You're going to be overspending on so many other areas of the business and neglecting other and more important areas of your business because you're focusing on solving a problem. Why even have the problem there to begin with?
Absolutely.
Especially if it's $249 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's affordable, right? So what we have, this is the first of our season 3, and we have a very, very big season in front of us. Joy, why don't you talk to us about some of the exciting things coming up on Qredible Live?
Yeah, very excited about season 3. Every season we kind of have a loose theme of things that we want to cover, and this season we're really branching out into supplements and additional like wellness support products. So we're very excited because we have experts from a lot of different spaces. So we're going to have episodes on functional mushrooms. We've got some of the leading people in both the research and retail side of functional mushrooms. We've got some functional medicine specialists. We've got an ethnobotanist who's going to be coming on and sharing some things. We've got a few different traditional medicine and herbalist practicing physicians. So we've got MDs who kind of have that Eastern bent to their practice and have incorporated supplements into their practice. So talking a little bit about that. And then we've got a couple of other, people in the extracts space, and then also the business and finance space. So the, kind of some of the payment processors and people who are in these ancillary businesses supporting. So tons of exciting episodes coming up. All of the scheduling is going to be promoted on LinkedIn and YouTube and all of our other social channels. This will all, as always, be rebroadcast in podcast form on Spotify and Apple. We would definitely encourage you to like and follow our show, to leave a review. That would help us out a lot. We're just super excited. It's going to be a great season, jam-packed with value for all of our listeners. And very excited. We kicked off with a bang. There were almost 8,000 people listening live today. So very excited.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Slam that like button and follow button. Right? I
just wanted to hit the bell. Hit subscribe. Do it.
The like, the subscribe, the bell. Yes.
Hit any button you can find.
Tell us we're smoking crack. I don't know. Provide feedback.
We'll get that 10,000 milligram family pack of THC.
That's right.
Have a party with your family.
There you go. Noah Fitzgerald, it is great working with you. Love having you as our Chief Revenue Officer. We're having a lot of fun. We're solving a lot of problems, and so glad that you could be a guest today. Qredible Live.
Honored as always. I really appreciate the time.
Well, thanks for joining us. Visit us at Qredible.com. Be incredible. We'll see you next time.